Hey guys, it's Kyle Thompson here with eXp Realty, bringing you another monthly market update, and this week we're going to be focusing on apartments. Let's jump right into it. All right, so at a glance, we had 53 new listings, 19 new sales. The average list price was $411,011. Average sale price was $391,600. The average sale price to list ratio was 95.27. Average days on market was 63.53. And we ended the month with an inventory of 142 units. So let's take a look at what that does to the market conditions. As always, I like to use both the monthly supply of inventory method as well as the sales to new listing ratio, as I find using both measures gives a more complete picture of what's going on in the market. With that said, using the monthly supply of inventory method, we came in at 6.71 months, which puts us firmly into buyer's market. If we use the sales to new listing ratio instead, we came in at 36%, which also puts us into a buyer's market. Now let's jump over and take a look at the active inventory last month. In September, we had a big spike in new listings, rising all the way from 38 up to 53 month over month. Sales, on the other hand, fell from 27 down to 19, and expireds rose from 7 up to 10. However, the benchmark price for an apartment in Kamloops fell $9,200 from $376,900 down to $367,700. Now let's take a look at the end of month inventory. Last month, we ended the month with an inventory of 142 units, which is about 15% above the 10-year average this time of year of 124. And that is the highest amount of inventory this time of the year going back to 2020. If we take a look at new listings instead, we see that so far year to date, there's been 449 new apartment listings, which is about 17% above the 10-year average of 383. And this is the highest amount of new listings going back to 2021. It's also the second highest over the last 10 years. If we jump over and take a look at units sold instead, we see that just like the other segments of the market, we've continued to have a terrible year. So far year to date, coming in at only 207 units sold, which is 17% below the 10-year average of 250. And this is the fewest amount of units sold going back all the way to 2016. Now let's jump over and take a look at the sales dashboard, starting off with the average sale price. This table is measuring year-over-year changes, so a full year over a full year. And when looked at that way, in aggregate, prices are down only about 0.78%, falling from $399,000 on average down to $395,900 and change. Currently, the most expensive areas of town for apartments is Dufferin, Tobiano, and Valley View, with an average sale price ranging from $458,000 and change up to $537,500. However, all three of those areas have fairly low sales volume, so it is a little bit easy to skew the numbers a bit. Currently, the cheapest areas of town are Dallas, North Cam, and Brock, with an average sale price ranging from $325,000 up to $353,000. Now let's jump over and take a look at the sale to list price ratio. So all this is a measure of how much properties are selling below the list price, and it's a good proxy for how much negotiating room you have when you are the buyer. With that said, in September, the sales to list price ratio fell about 0.9%, meaning that there is more negotiating room when you are the buyer. This is the lowest reading over the last 12 months. Now let's jump over and take a look at sales by sub-area. Once again, this table is measuring full year over full year, and when looked at that way, in aggregate, sales are down about 11.81%, falling from 288 down to 254. And most areas of town are down on the year with the exclusion of Aberdeen and Pineview. Finally, let's move on to how long it's taking properties to sell, starting off with the 10-year. So far, year to date, it's taken an average of 52 days for apartments to sell, which is about 22% below the 10-year average of 67. If we look at the trailing 12 months instead, we see that in September, it took an average of 64 days for apartments to sell, which is 23% above the trailing 12-month average of 52. Now let's take a look at it by sub-area. This table is measuring full year over full year again, and when looked at that way, in aggregate, average days on market is actually down 22%, falling from 67 days on average down to 52. Currently, the fastest selling areas of town are Tobiano and Dallas, with average days on market of 28 and 21 respectively, whereas the areas taking the longest to sell are Valley View, Sun Peaks, and West Side, with an average days on market ranging from 75 up to 87. So to sum things up, after a strong month in August, apartments appear to be reverting back to the mean. We have high inventory and high amount of new listings coming online, but sales continue to be terrible. When we look at it big picture and zoom out, apartments are still moving fairly quickly. However, when we look at the last 12 months, we see that days on market is increasing, and I would expect that trend to continue as we move into the winter months. That's all we have for today. I really hope that you guys are continuing to get value out of these market updates. If you are, consider liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel. And as always, if there's ever anything that you feel like wasn't explained thoroughly enough, or you want something added to these market updates, please feel free to leave your comments or suggestions in the comment section below, and I'll get to them as soon as I'm able. Thanks for watching.